Good afternoon and welcome to a brand new show brought to you by Africam and explore.org, and it is called Wild Moments. And as I say, it is powered by explore.org. My name is James Hendry. I am talking to you from, well, I probably won't tell you where I'm talking from. It's not quite as pleasant as the places we're going to show you over the course of the next half an hour. Joining me today to discuss various highlights from the Africam live cameras, we have got Trishala Naidu.
Hello, everybody. I'm very excited to be chatting about these great sightings that you're going to have a look at soon.
Trishala is just in the Cape, where, of course, nobody does any work. And so that includes the people responsible for her internet. So if she does freeze every so often, it is because of the indolence of our data providers in that part of the world. We apologize on their behalf. I'm not in the Cape. Then the only other thing to tell you before we get into the first clip is that this is live. It is interactive, which means that we'd love to hear from you. We have already had a contribution to this show, believe it or not, from Andy FL2, Andy F2. I think that's how it's said. Andy, you say good day, Trishala and James. Hi, Andy.
Good day, Andy.
Right. Okay. Excellent. I think we're going to move into our first clip now. Oh, sorry, last thing. I'd forgotten to tell you this. It is World Wildlife Day. So happy World Wildlife Day. Go outside if you happen to live in the city like I do and stroke an ant or perhaps tickle a cricket and prevail upon your house cat not to eat any birds today or any other day. Good. Okay, so it's World Wildlife Day. Let's move on to our first clip. I will prevail upon the director for the day, who in fact is my wife, Kirsten, and she is going to play the first clip, which is of a python, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it is. Now, you may not be able to see this python, but it is in fact the top of the stick. And this particular stick is in Baluli Game Reserve at a place called, oh, right, well, now you see this python has been doing this kind of thing over the last few weeks. So we'll just let the clip roll through. You can see that bird had a very bad day. It is currently experiencing suffocating and biting by this Southern African python. Ugh, not a nice way to go, I wouldn't say. And we will go back at the end and just see if we can identify the bird species and then tell you a little bit more about the bird and the python and what we think's going on here. Ooh. Yeah, no, that's really very unpleasant. No. I mean, look, in defense of the snake, it does have to eat, obviously, but also it's eating the bird feathers.
Unfortunately, I can see.
You can see?
But luckily, I did see it before.
Yes. Right. Okay. Yeah, I can't identify the bird at this stage, but we'll have a look at a slow-mo of it at the end. Now,
wow.
I'm no...
Isn't it quickly considering it's such a large...
Isn't that... Sorry, say that again, Trish. I think we're having a few internet issues there. What's interesting about the snake is that if you look at it, it looks to me like it's probably been eating quite a lot. And I don't think that was the first bird it ate that day. Kirsten, can we go back to that clip, please? And let's just try and stop it close to where the bird gets snatched. Right, it's playing. We'll just blip. I mean, that is quite something. Wow. Let's try that again. We'll just try and stop it at the right spot. As the bird comes into frame. Okay, if we can back it up very slightly, you saw the bird Right. Okay. Now, let's pause it there. Now, what's fascinating here to me is that this all happens so fast that it looks like the bird's actually been caught in midair. But what you can see here is that it's landed on the snake, thinking that the snake is the branch. Now, if you haven't been watching this camera recently, and if you haven't seen the highlights from Africam, this snake has started to do this regularly. And I suspect quite strongly that what it did do was it came up onto that log to start with, just to bask and enjoy itself in the sun. And suddenly it found that it had found a readily available pantry full of birds, and it's proved extremely successful at catching them. Trishala, you're back with us? What do you think?
I think I am. Am I back? Yes.
Yes, you are.
Anyway, it
Okay.
was incredible. Also, the camouflage of that python
Mm,
on the actual branch, it almost looks like you said that the bird had landed on the python. It almost looked
yeah,
like, which is incredibly bad luck, unfortunately. But
yeah,
also the reaction time of the python in grabbing the bird is phenomenal.
yeah. I think it is absolutely astounding. I think that that bird is a yellow-throated petronia. I'm judging that not from the yellow throat, but from that very distinctive eye stripe that it has. Let's see if we can get Kirsten to port. Does it? No, it's so fast. Almost. Try once more.
Ooh.
Here we go. And there we go. That's it. Yeah, I think it's a yellow-throated petronia. It used to be called a yellow-throated sparrow, and it has landed on the snake, and the snake has reacted with unbelievable speed, like a slip catcher, and it's taken it. And the only other
You can
thing that
also
I
see
found,
that
yeah, carry on.
the snake bends its entire neck region backwards in order to catch the
Mm,
bird. If you have a look here,
yeah,
amazing.
yes, it is absolutely stunning. And then holds on to the branch and manages not to fall off. The other thing that I think is quite interesting here is that obviously that snake is a constrictor, and it does do a little bit of constricting of that bird, but it's really that's not its optimal prey size. I mean, normally it would catch something much larger than that, and in this case, it doesn't really have to do a great deal of strangling.
Or a great deal of work. It
No,
evens it out.
yeah. Christy just saying that she thinks she obviously is a regular watcher. She says she thinks that this python is up to 6 or 7 birds by now. Yeah, I mean, I think I've seen it catch at least 6 or 7 birds, all of them quite little. Now, the other thing I wanted to get your comment on, Trish, before we move on to our next clip, is that a reptile like this is supposed to be pretty gormless. You know, we talk of the reptilian brain almost as an insult. The reptilian brain is the part of the brain that is responsible for all of your instinctual behavior, whereas the mammalian brain is supposed to be responsible for your ability to learn. But I think that that has learned that that's an excellent spot to go and catch food. Would you agree? Trisha's frozen in a position that looks like she's astounded. Okay, let's carry on. We'll just get a couple more comments. Tweety tweet, you say, wow, if it wasn't eating, you wouldn't even know it was there. No, absolutely, you wouldn't know it was there. That's the whole point of camouflage, really, hiding in plain sight, as it were. And May Blossom, hello. Hello, Judy. Nice to have you with us. Also, hellos from Jennifer Strauser, Vic Martinez, hola, Fernando from Lima, Peru, Marta from New Jersey, Anna from Boston, Ayom, Jill, and Ingle. Don't know where they are. Okay, long Python clip. And do just keep watching out. If you are interested in that Python, you can find it on the Africam website, africam.com, and you can find the Rosie's Pan camera, and that's where that Python is hanging out at the moment. All right, we're going to go across to Tembe in the northern parts of South Africa, northern parts of KwaZulu-Natal. And we're going to watch these lions. Now, I'm not sure if anybody's actually managed to work out what these cats are doing yet. But they are doing what a lot of my friends like to do on the weekends. They are fishing. Now, if you look at the top right of your picture, you can see there that that pond or pan is a seething mass of catfish who have obviously been trapped. And these lions, not being fussy in the slightest, are now fishing. I've seen leopards do this. Many of us have watched documentaries of leopards doing precisely this. They're not fussy about what they eat, but these lions, definitely less competent than leopards, I would say, at fishing, are probably having quite a good time. It almost looks like they're enjoying themselves. That's wonderful. Now, the lioness with a collar has a name, and it's an incredibly wonderful name for a lioness, F70, which means female number 70. The male, apparently, that's the one there with his foot, the least competent fisherman of the prize, is called Greedy, and the female, the other one, who has got a, I think she's obviously consumed her start and is back now, is called Astarte. And there was another brother called Rollo, but Rollo disappeared, possibly even worse at catching food than his brother Greedy.
Ooh, wow.
Now they've both got one. Oh, that's wonderful. There we go. Well done, Greedy. You got yourself a muddy fish. I'm not sure that Astarte is so keen on her meal. She seems to be putting it back, maybe to give it a bit of a wash. Anyway, I mean, that's very interesting. Trish, have you ever seen anything like that?
Not with lions. I mean, we've seen leopards hunting catfish,
Yeah.
but not with lions. But it's really similar to domestic cats in the way they hunt fish,
Mm.
and they put their paw in and then pull
Yeah.
instead of, launching in and biting.
Whereas leopards, I think, quite often get themselves wet and muddy.
Yeah.
Mm. Now, I think that was absolutely amazing. And I mean, to me, look, I've thought about this long and hard, and I've watched lions in lots of different situations. For me, there's an element of play there. It just looks to me
Oh,
like
absolutely.
they are having fun, and I think that if they were purely doing it for eating, and they'd probably actually fight over one when if one individual caught a fish, the rest would probably go after it. What do you think?
Yeah, that's a great point, actually.
Yeah. So I don't know why they chose to eat those fish, but they're opportunistic, which of course most of the predators are, and so they've gone for muddy catfish. I don't know if any of you have eaten catfish. Trish, have you ever eaten a catfish?
To be honest, I'm not sure because
Mm,
there's so many different labels for fish that I thought are just normal fish that are often something else. So
right.
very likely.
Catfish is, in fact, unless it is cleaned very thoroughly and put in very clean water for quite a long time before you eat it, it tastes exactly like whatever it was lying in. So I suspect those lions basically had a meal that tasted precisely like mud. It's not a delicious creature unless it's been very well cleaned. Tammy, you say, does the collared baby have babies? It does look like she has youngsters. Yeah, it looked to me like she was lactating, I think, unless she's just got mud all over her belly. But it looked to me, yeah, no, that looks like a lactating female to me on the right hand side.
Yeah, definitely.
Normally, of course, like I was saying, when lions feed, there's such aggression and such a lack of sort of willingness to allow other members of the pride to eat. Whereas here, these guys, I think, are just having great fun.
Oh, yeah. I was just remembering there's a fish, or at least what I bought in the store, called a bass, B-A-S-A, and it's a type of fish, at least in a family. It tasted fine.
Okay, well, I'm sure they probably cleaned it quite nicely for you.
Yeah, I would hope.
Yes. Yeah, James Richard says cats are cats regardless of size. Ain't that the truth? They really do look like domestic cats, as Trish says there. Linda, you say hello. Hello, Linda. And Agrod,
Hi,
you've
Linda.
obviously watched Trishala and I on another platform where we had a leopard cat called Tingana, and he liked to go fishing from time to time. Yes, he did. Rest in peace, we think. Poor old Tingana. Okay, so there we go. That was our fishing cats. And now we shall move on to a leopardess called the Rosie's female. Now, many of you will not have met this cat. This is the Rosie's female, and she's got a cub. In fact, that looks very much like a cub rather than the Rosie's female herself. And she is frequently seen at this pan in Baluli Game Reserve. And what's really nice about this live camera is that it has picked up this leopard, and we've watched the cub grow up. And that would have been impossible had it not been for the camera, because the mother, Rosie, she's called a Rosie's pan female, her name is not Rosie, she's the one on the right. She's actually very skittish. And so you can't view her from a vehicle with a cub like this. And I was actually there about 3 weeks ago now. I'm not sure what she's seen.
Maybe a catfish.
Maybe it's a catfish. I don't know what it is. I don't think it's that piece of grass. Possibly a hyena, another leopard, maybe a lion.
My first thought was hyena.
Yeah, I think hyena is probably a good thought. Anyway, I was there 3 weeks ago or so, and this leopard popped out while we were sitting there, and we had been sitting there for a long time. We were very quiet, and she got up and stretched, and then she saw us, and it took her about 5 seconds to melt into the bush. So that's one of the real advantages of these live cameras. That is very sweet. Trish, how old would you say that cub is before you ask me?
Oh, before I ask you?
Yes. I was asking you to put you under pressure before you did the same to me.
Back to the good old days. I'd say that cub is about 4 to 6 months, maybe a little bit older. It's about half the size of the mother at this point.
Yeah. My guess would have been 6 months.
It's also great to see this, because whether it's bad or not, our presence does affect the way an animal behaves in its environment.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's always a negative thing, but here you get to see original behavior unaffected by our presence at all.
You're absolutely right. And just in case anybody's wondering, this is infrared. Those animals it looks like they're being spotted, but infrared cameras lights pointed at, which means that they can't see them. So to the naked human eye, certainly, and in fact to those cats, it's completely dark. And I think, Trish, you make a really good point there, that you and I have watched countless leopards from vehicles. We've tried to be as sensitive as possible. but there's no question that our presence there must make a difference. Not necessarily, like you say, a negative difference, but it definitely does make a difference. And it's really nice, like you say, to see an animal totally wild that won't let you get near it in a vehicle, behaving and just interacting with its cub and whatever was the other side of the pan there.
Yeah.
We still got Trish. I think yes, there she is. She's back. Okay.
I'm just a little jittery. That's all.
You're just a bit jittery. I'm sorry about that. Aunt Christine and Valentina says a bit odd. Cooperative hunting. So yes, more fun than sorry, we're talking about the catfish there. And more catfish questions. Mary Momo, you say catfish definitely doesn't taste good unless it's farm raised. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Or if you like dirt flavor, absolutely right. But you can raise catfish on a farm, and you can actually make it taste pretty good. Thank you for that, Aunt Christine.
As I discovered the other night.
Yes, exactly. James Richard, you say that Rosie's female has done so well, surviving pretty nasty wound. That's right, yes. She has had a horrid wound on her side, and that seems to have at least sort of cleared up now. And that cub seems to be doing very well. When we were there, we saw little cub tracks, which was really nice, and I'd hoped to view the cub, but no, she didn't bring it out. And like I say, as soon as she saw us waiting there, she was gone. Which, yeah, like Trish says, it's actually, I'm sure it's very frustrating for the guides in Baluli, but for me, it was really quite interesting to see that behavior and then to have a relationship with her in so much as we can watch her on this live cam. She comes to and interacts around the pan totally unaffected. Juliet, you say frog eyes around the rim of the pan. Yes, indeed. Thank you for that. I think there were. I'm pretty sure.
Of course, Juliet would pick that up.
Of course she would. Probably identified what frog species there were. But I think probably was shouting at a hyena. That would be my bet. Okay, let us move on to our final clip now, which is a crocodile, an impala, and some buffalo. Now, this is quite distressing for sensitive viewers. This is also in Baluli, and this is on a mobile camera, so the camera's attached to a vehicle. And you can see what this impala's problem is. It's got a crocodile attached to its bottom, which is really not an experience anybody wants to have. Trying to get the impala into deeper water. Oof.
If you have a look, would you see, Kirst, if you could go, we can go through the clip first. But the impala was facing the bank, trying to get out, and then the croc turned the impala to push it forward.
That's a good point. Crocodile, also not so dim-witted. Quite clever like the python. Now, this is a fascinating little bit of animal behavior here that I really can't explain.
Ooh.
Now, these buffalo know what's going on here. They're too big to be worried about the croc. They do, at the very least, seem interested in what's going on here.
I think at least that one's getting very close. You can see that the majority of the calves are kept within the safety of the herd. It's just this bull that's gone out.
Yeah. But what is he doing? It's like he's having a conversation with the impala saying, how's your day going? And the impala saying, really not very well. In fact, quite badly. And the buffalo's going, well, I'm sorry to hear about that. I'm a bit thirsty and look, I'm probably going to head back to my mates. Can I get you anything? Well, no. You can help me out? Nah, I'm a bit tired. Good luck. Have a nice day.
Oh, better not step on this croc as I go out.
Are you sure I can't get you anything? And off it goes. I mean, it's absolutely
The impala
bizarre.
seems to even up as well a little bit. That is quite bizarre. Oh, touching moment.
I mean, that impala must be thinking to itself, what the hell do you want? Now, just to be clear, the crocodile is still attached to the impala here.
Yeah. That is very, very interesting. I can't say I can even rationalize what I think is happening here.
No. I think, just to be clear, that impala did not make it through the day. It eventually was pulled under, drowned, and then consumed by that crocodile. I think what's so interesting there is that we can't, I've said this often before when looking at animals, is that you can't see any expression on their faces or hear any kind of language from them, which means that it's impossible or very difficult to interpret what on earth that buffalo was thinking. It walked up there. Was it panicked? Did it feel sympathy? Was it just interested? Does it not like crocodiles? Does it not like impala? Was it laughing at the impala? What on earth was going on there?
I think at least we saw that the buffalo put its nose to, at least it looked like the junction where the impala and crocodile were connected. So that would at least indicate some kind of curiosity because they're getting a lot of information, olfactory information. But other than that, it's as good as your and my narration of what was going on.
Yeah, no, I think so too. I think curiosity is a big one. And I do think that mammals show a level of curiosity that is unique to our class of vertebrate. I don't know, maybe birds also show a certain amount of curiosity, but I suspect reptiles and fish less so. And amphibians, well, who knows? But I suspect less so. But I think that there's definitely an element of curiosity. And what's interesting is that was a young bull. And it's so often a young male mammal who don't have anything better to do with his day that'll go off and do something like that, you know? It's the
Yes,
elephant
we
that
all know
comes
one
to
of
visit
those.
your car. It's the young leopard who'll come
Yeah.
and look at you when you're on a walk. It's the young human male who just walks down the road. And I don't know what young human males do. In fact, it's so long since I was young, but I can remember doing a lot of pointless things. Joy, you say assessing the risk. I don't know. I don't think he was assessing the risk. Didn't look to me. I don't know what you think, Trish, but it really doesn't seem to me that those buffalo were vaguely freaked out by the croc.
Also, I think that assessing the risk happens quite far behind actually coming and interacting,
Yeah.
whatever you think of risk. And here it came right up to the whole situation. Assessing the risk, I would have imagined that as soon as they see the water, they would do what buffaloes do and strong and stare and then move slowly. This was very nonchalant.
Yeah. Tweety tweet, you say, why doesn't it step on the croc? Well, it doesn't step on the croc because it doesn't feel the need to. It's not there to help the impala. It's just kind of checking out the scene, which,
Maybe at first it was not clear that there was a crocodile there, and it just looked like an impala. But very quickly they would know that there was one, especially at distance.
Yeah. Well, I think that was absolutely fascinating. All right, everybody. Sharon, you say you love the show. Thank you very much. You say hello to James and Trish. We're going to say goodbye to you now. And thank you for joining us. Thank you, Trishala, very much. I hope to do this again with you soon.
And,
I think we'll probably carry on.
I just wanted to say I'm sorry for my internet, everybody.
Oh, that's all right.
I would have been more
you
present.
are in the Cape.
But the sightings were amazing.
They were absolutely fantastic. All right, everybody, we'll do another one of these sometime soon. Please join us then for another Wild Moments. Bye-bye.